corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We got to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
Chief Concerns is presented by BetOnline and Olipop. Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns, and ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. Come on, baby. Go, 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 go. Yes! That's a first down. That's a first down. That's a first down. This football season, I'll be putting down normal sodas like Coca-Cola for Olipop. Olipop offers a healthier alternative with its low sugar content and natural ingredients. Olipop is more than just a drink. It's a wellness companion that supports your digestive health. Packed with prebiotics, this fizzy elixir helps promote good bacteria in your gut, leading to improved digestion and overall well-being. So go ahead, click the link in the description and use promo code SODALOVE and get your can of Olipop so you can enjoy the game guilt-free. Go Chiefs. Use the promo code SODALOVE for 15% off now. Hey guys, another week, another win. Chiefs are 7-0. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn in the middle right there, and my brother Teja Dash on the right. Guys, so 7-0, another win. At times a little too close for comfort at times in this game, but I never had to doubt in this one. There was I was never like, oh, we're gonna lose this game, or it's tough. But yeah, I mean, obviously we knew coming in double-digit favorite. The Raiders cover the spread, but a win is a win. We don't go by spreads in the NFL. JD, you know that, right? We go by dubs and losses in the NFL. But what was your guys' overall takeaways from this 27-20 victory over the Raiders?
I tell you what, man, this was exactly the game I expected. It was a hard-fought game. Didn't matter who was in there, who was out. We knew it was going to be a slugfest. And so here's two teams that hate each other, and nobody wanted to back up. And that was the case. And so you seen how they kept fighting for every little thing that they got. They made us earn every little single thing that we had gotten from them. But I think Patrick looked pretty good offensively, getting the balls to the receivers. Like I said, number one thing for keys to victory, get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. And he found his number one squeeze, his number one playmaker in Travis Kelce. Okay. And so it was good to see them two back together again like they have been playing. Okay. Have been hitting each other over the head, all these teams over the head in the NFL. And it was good to see D-Hop out there make a couple of good catches. Comes in, makes a very pivotal first down for us to keep moving the chains in the first series. To go on and get a touchdown. So we can see that what he's going to be able to bring to the table on offensively, man. Patrick threw one out there to an out route. He looked so good catching the football, just looked so smooth just doing it. I'm just like, man, it's just going to be a routine thing for him to do. But as far as that offensively, I think we did okay. I'd like to see a better running game. Kareem Hunt, 21 carries for 59 yards. We were getting manhandled up front. And I was going to put that on Twitter, but I said, I'm going to wait till the show to say that, man. But we were getting manhandled up front. And it showed. So had to do a much better job holding calls on Wanye Morris and put us in a position that, could have been detrimental to us. Actually had a tip pass on, I think, on our series that they almost came down to score. But our defense, boy, them jokers, man, play some ball. They always come out when they need to blow their backs up. I always say this all the time. They show up. They deliver when they need to. And when us just start seeing the second half, Spags start being in his bag. He start finding out what y'all do well, okay? What y'all trying to respond to what we do. Now I'm gonna take it to you. And that's exactly what he did. He started bringing some blitz, start taking that mustache off. I said, hey, knock that mustache off. Number one, knock the mustache off. Okay? Yeah, Gardner Minshew, by the time he took his helmet off, he had half the mustache still left. And that's exactly what we wanted to put on him, bring a little bit of that pain, and we brought some of that today. So it was good. Stopped the running game, man. But I didn't expect anything less than this. Not at all.
Teja, your thoughts?
To bounce off some of that, not a great game for Hunt because this Raiders run defense is not highly ranked. I think they're 26th or 27th, 23rd. They're 23rd overall in yards per game. So, yeah, 2.8 a carry, not very good. And it's the way it happened too, where I don't need Hunt to break runs. I mean, we didn't really have that with Pacheco. We haven't had that with Hunt, even in this season. I just want 3 to 5 yard pops. That's all I want. And he couldn't even get that today. I mean, 8 of his runs went for a max of 1 yard, which is just not good. He had, I think, 3 no gains. I think he had 1 or 2 negative 1 yards. We just need more. We need more, especially against a bad run defense. But what really saved us in this game and what really won the game was third down passing efficiency against one of the best third down defenses in the league. They're second going into this game. We were 12 of 15 on third downs against the number 2 third down defense in the league. 9 out of those 12 were picked up by passing. So in a year where our passing offense has been rough, man, they killed it. The other 2 were picked up by Mahomes' feet, and only 1 was picked up by Hunt. So we only had 1 third down conversion from a running back today, which is pretty crazy for us this year, right? Like in the past, not so much, but this year to have that's pretty nuts, and especially with our passing game struggling. And it's too bad that ball got tipped because Mahomes was not going to throw a pick today. We talked about that on Friday, and he wasn't going to throw one. So it sucks that got tipped, and what happened. But he was extremely on point today for the most part, and no major miscues except for that tip. I love D-Hop getting involved. I know we heard he was going to be heavily involved going into the game, but I don't think that was going to happen. But what he got was good, and I heard he was open on another play that he didn't get the ball on. And our defense just, we talked about this last week too. We were going to eat Madison in this run game alive. I mean, we just were. He hasn't done well against less formidable opponents, and he comes into one of the strictest run defenses in the league, and 14 carries, 15 yards. That is dominant.
So, kind of what you were saying as far as with Kareem Hunt, I know said Kareem didn't have a good game, but I do believe a lot of that had to be what the offensive line was doing up front.
Yeah. Well, I'm not blaming Hunt.
It wasn't necessarily him. And that's what I did when I'm watching it. And I'm like, man, are they just that stout? Or we just not coming off the football and hitting these guys and moving them? And we weren't. We weren't getting up to the second level, to the linebackers. We weren't coming off. When we were coming in motion, kicking out, we didn't do a very good job. We were really soft on the edges against, Crosby and the other defensive ends. And I don't know why we were using – it's like pillow fighting out there a little bit to me. And especially when you sitting over there, especially with a rival like this, you got to try to go and tear a guy's head off. I'm sorry. I mean, and I'm talking about some of the tight ends that was in motion, backs, whoever it might have been, coming and kicking out. Man, you got to root guys out. Use your hips, get up underneath them, okay, and absolutely just be. You got to be like almost like a dump truck, okay, like a bulldozer. You go down low and you come back out and rise with your hips. And I just didn't see any type of explosions like that at all. And I was a little disappointed in that regard.
Did you get the sense that they were going to lay that we thought they were going to kind of lay down and like take it?
No, not at all. I think once we got there, I think they realized that they were in for a fight. I could just the course of the game, how it was going. Like we went down and scored pretty easy. We kept those things going. Like you said, the pass, third down,
it was on
downs, and that's exactly what we needed. But we went down, man. It was good from the calls that we had to get us in the end zone, and that was perfect. But that run game, it was just bottled up. I know somebody said something on Twitter. I said, look, man, first off, Kareem Hunt's got to run through the hole that he's assigned to run. But number two, the guys in front of him has got to do their job to open up the holes too. For him. They got to. And so they just didn't really open up those lanes for him to run in. And so he's sitting over still trying to make tough yards, turning his back, still trying to get up the field. But, yeah, we should have done a much better job. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, he didn't get a whole lot of looks. His presence alone for the defense still cause concern and worry. And so the one time we was down going in the end zone where he was singled up on the outside, I'm just like, oh, it's got to be and it was a slant. He probably could have thrown a D-Hop for a touchdown on that where he ball to Kelsey. Yeah, I mean that was, I know that corner out there was probably shaking in his boots like, oh, well, here it is. It's coming to me. But that's the D-Hop effect. He's going to have it on guys and get that type of respect because he's DeAndre Hopkins. So he's been doing that for years.
I don't want to be so negative either. Another positive note: red zone, 3 of 4 last 2 weeks, 7 of 9. So that's a crazy improvement compared to what we've done previously. Mm-hmm. And defensively, another good week of adjustments. By the way, I think the Raiders came out and they had 2 or 3 of their first half drives went for at least 10 plays and scores. And then the second half, besides that last garbage time one, 3 of their 5s didn't go for more than 4 plays. So we really, really clamped down and adjusted. And then one of their drives was started at the 8-yard line. So, I mean, to stop them there on 4 straight plays, I think some of that was their play calling. I mean, our defense, I give them kudos, but Raiders did not do themselves any favors with their play calling on that one. After a whole game of averaging like 1 yard a carry, you're going to give your running back 3 straight carries at the 5-yard line trying to get that ball in. Man, this ain't the tush push, man.
Yeah. But who else you got to throw to? I mean, you got Bowers. I mean, other than that, man, I mean, that's this.
But Bowers had two targets the opening drive. He didn't have one until like the fourth quarter after that.
Yeah.
You can't do that, man. Like, he's your guy. I mean, we said it last week. He's been averaging like 11 targets the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think it was just, the penetration, man, the defense. And we did a good job because what we were going to do is we made sure we were going to slash in the gaps to make sure they didn't have anything. If you had to submarine some guys, just create a pound. I think like Drew Tranquil came out the edge a couple of times. Great. Same thing with Karlaftis also too. Just bringing pressure, and just really was kind of, putting that, that formidable part on the edge. So they couldn't do anything. And Matt said he just didn't have anywhere to run. He didn't have anywhere to run. And man, I think Spags knows, well, look, if we come in the gaps, we bring more than they can block. Even if they don't give it to the running back, we got somebody who's going to be on a quarterback on right now, right? And that's what he's looking for. It's basically blitzing. That's it. He's like, shoot, we're gonna go all out and just hope our guys cover. We're gonna put on our guys to cover the guys that go out in the pass route. So, but I tell you what, with the injury to Aziz, and we still got some time for free agency, we might have to go get that corner.
That's where that money's going.
Yeah. Yep.
You could trade for one, or I mean, there's still plenty of guys that are still out there free agency wise. I mean, Xavier Howard is a guy that I keep coming back to. That I don't get why he's still a free agent. There's a few guys who are free agents who I still understand why they're still free agents. Renfro and Xavier Howard. Those are two guys that make no sense to me why they were still free agents. And maybe they're waiting for moments like this where teams are have a lot of injuries and they need some guys to come in and be plug and play. What did you when Najee went down? What did you think of Joshua Williams and Roland Wallace when those guys who were rotated in? Because I mean, I thought for the most part secondary looked pretty good today. I mean, you can't tell me that that you were down a couple guys in the secondary. I thought Roland Wallace did well. I'm seeing Mike Brennan in the chat. The change in coverage on Bowers was key. But yeah, I mean, what did you think of Joshua Williams' play and Roland Wallace's play, JD?
Josh Williams had a couple of penalties that put him in a position.
Yeah, stupid penalties.
Yeah, throwing the guy out of bounds, it's crazy. I'm sure the other one was, true. Don't let a guy beat you deep for, a touchdown or whatever it is. But he hasn't really. This is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how he was going to be able to respond. Okay, because he hadn't really been playing. And so this is like his time in his moment to say, hey, look, okay, now I'm the guy. So when I'm the guy now, and I got to step up. There's no question about it. There's no rotation. It's not Jalen Watson. It's not Aziz. You are the guy. You're the dude. And so how you come out there and do your game is important to see. I think we kind of struggled a little bit in coverage. Somewhat, and I think the guys just did okay. I think they did okay, but if I'm sitting over saying there's concern and we might have to go get us another corner, then that tells you I wasn't really satisfied for what I saw from those guys out there. So,
yeah, that's big for you to say to go get somebody in free agency. Whenever you say let's head to see what's out there, that's what I know you're not really pleased with the JD. So I was just curious what you thought about the Young Bucks.
We also can't rely on it. Like we talked about this before we got before the Juju injury. We were like, if anything happens to anyone else, we're screwed, right? So like, don't get to that point before the door closes on getting some of these guys in free agency and trade. So get someone here now, so we don't have to completely rely on these guys taking the next step forward, and we're screwed if they don't, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the Bowers only getting 3 targets. It's changing coverage, maybe not the specific play of a certain player, but kind of the packages and the coverage we're throwing at Gardner Minshew is very, very mid quarterback, as the kids say. I thought, JD, you kind of alluded to it, the play or 17-13, Mahomes has the interception. And I would say this play kind of changed the game in a way where it kind of gave everybody some confidence back and some of our mojo back. Mahomes throws a pick. They get the ball at the 5-yard line. And then you got 4 plays of -5 yards. 4 plays, that whole sequence. So you got the multiple penalties from Wanye Morris on the offensive, and then Mahomes throws a pick, and then they get 3 straight run plays with Madison, stuffed -yards, and then you have a pass play with Minshew and 4-play turnover on downs. That was 17-13 there. They score that, they go up by 3. The fact that didn't happen and the way it went down, where it was a 4-play stop. I mean, I thought the defense on that kind of was a point there to show, if people are going to look back at this game, I think that's where you go back and show that. You show that series there, you show, and that's what the Chiefs are about this year. It's not the flashy throwing bombs like we used to be. That gritty stuff that you saw, that's what the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024 are about this year. I thought that was a huge statement about the defense.
Oh, pivotal. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it was. So, like I said, when you have your back against the wall and they're knocking on the door, and the defense to step up like they did, that literally took the wind out of their sails. From and I said you got to shut the crowd up. That did it. That 4th down stand right there. Hey, we ain't going for points. We got to get it in. Hey, that was it's sensational. And like you said, that's the grit that they see what this defense is all about. So the Chiefs are a top 5 defense in my estimation. I don't know where they're ranked in the NFL right now. Maybe y'all can help me out to see that. But just for what they bring, collectively, they're a tough bunch, man. They're a tough bunch.
I was also going to say earlier, this is the second week in a row that the opposing team's best pass rusher we saw did a lot of switching sides to go against Wanye instead of Taylor. Bosa did it last week. Crosby did this week. More indicative of how good Taylor's pass blocking has been or how bad Morris's pass blocking is?
I think it was, this was a game that Wanye Morris kind of got exposed a little bit. This is where they ate his lunch. And it might have been in his head a little bit. So they understand that, and I've said this on the show about Wanye Morris, and it's his feet that always does him in. And he gets his feet too close together, and the inside move is where he gets beat more than anything else. And so for them, that was easy pickings. And what we need to do, I seen him chip. Kareem Hunt had a chip on what's the name of it? On one of when he was winning against Juwan Taylor, Crosby, which was textbook. He hit that sucker, man, so hard. I was like, oh, geez. Like, he felt that one. So they probably figured, like, let's go to the other side and get a little bit of Wanye Morris over here. I think maybe some of those penalties at the end of Wanye was a bad call. The one where he's trying to zone block backside, and he goes for the guy and just kind of throws him down. You should never call that. That was a bad call by the ref, man.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I was just like, the dude kind of failed. What are you supposed to do? He ain't like you pulled him down.
Yeah,
like that at all. So that was just a bad call. But do I trust Wanye Morris? Yes, I trust him. He's going to have hard games. This is one that's going to be a challenge for him. We knew that.
Yeah.
They got a good pass rush. We understand that. And so, Crosby's a guy that's relentless. He's always going to bring his A game every single snap that he's out there. So it's on us to make sure we give our tackles help when you see Crosby. That's it. Bottom line. Hey, man. Yeah, you're going to be out there on the island, but we're going to give you help. So he just got to know, man, you ain't got to help on the inside. If Joe's not there and he's sliding down the other way, you can't get beat inside. That's just technique-wise as a tackle. You just can't. I'm sorry. So
going over like the we'll get to some of the positive stuff. Obviously, we just talked about the defense, but I just want to go over a few miscues. And I'm seeing a comment here by Dom John 97. Can we stop passing the ball inside the 10-yard line and run the ball with Hunt? There was that one drive where I think they called Xavier Worthy when he caught the ball, but it was an incomplete pass, and we ended up kicking the field goal from the 2-yard line. Those 4 plays were there. We get down there, Mahomes gets a rough in the pass, so we get down there, and we didn't run the ball once. And you could say, yeah, our run blocking wasn't up to par tonight, but not running it once, that I took issue with. And then kind of to your point, JD, we got our butts handed to us on the offensive line, and I'll say this: Joe Tooney's never a guy I usually call. I will point out and say, "Oh, it wasn't the best game for him." That dude Butler from the Raiders was getting to him. That the big lineman, number 69, he was getting to Tooney, and hey, that tells you what about that number 69 guy from the Raiders? Pretty solid. I mean, if you're doing that to Joe Tooney, you're doing pretty good. And the fact that we couldn't do anything running the ball. That's why we're averaging about 2.5 yards a carry on the day. But yeah, I mean, I thought. Yes, I agree. We should have run the ball a little bit more, but we were getting our asses handed to us.
He was giving it to Tooney. He was giving it to Creed Humphrey. He was giving it to Trey Smith. He was going up and down that inside and hitting everybody. That's what he was doing. And I think he was the one that made the tip, for the interception, if I'm not mistaken. And that was against Trey Smith. He just pushed him back on Pat. He just pushed him back and got his hand up. And for a defensive tackle, that's all you need. It's because guards set the depth of the pocket. They set the depth, and tackles the width. And if you especially down there, you cannot give up an inch. You can't give up an inch at the time. I mean, you just know where you are. The awareness of it. Hey, man, you can't. You got to be at your best. You just got to know it at that time. So, yeah, we didn't really do a good job against him at all. That sucker played well for them.
Yeah.
I believe it was the other defensive tackle that had the pass deflection. It was John Jenkins was the one that had the pass deflection. Butler was the guy who's been. You saw 69-95 were kind of in the backfield, disrupting a lot of stuff tonight.
Yeah, whoever it was, I don't know. Whoever it was on the D line today, they ate their Wheaties. Let me put it that way, okay? All right? They had their Wheaties.
I noticed their D tackles. They're pretty big guys. They have a certain type about them in the Raiders. They have some very big, bulky guys.
Yeah.
We have more leaner type of tackles. I know Pinnell's a little plumpy, but as far as our type, we like a little more of the leaner style. They like the thick guys over there in Oakland. Well, let me ask you, JD. I've noticed that Patrick Graham, the DC for the Raiders, he's done a pretty good job with game planning for Mahomes. Although this is probably Mahomes' best game of the season, but he's done a pretty good job with Mahomes. What are your thoughts on what the Raiders have been doing more recently? Because I'll say this. I mean, when you look at Mahomes' numbers against the AFC West, dominates them. But I would say with the Raiders over the last few years, because we used to beat the crap out of the Raiders in the beginning of the Mahomes days, but you start to see the lead shrink a little bit and kind of the gaps are getting a little smaller. What do you think the Raiders defense is doing to Mahomes that's kind of, making these games a little bit more difficult than what they had been in the past against the Raiders Chiefs?
Cage rush. That's exactly what it is. And Antonio Pierce said it before. What you try to do is you try to make sure you make that area, that window small for Mahomes so he can't really move around. And so you've seen that he was maneuvering. That was hard for him to do because I'm sitting there thinking like just in that small space, just to take off running. And the linebacker who got hurt and came back in, I can't think his name. He's a hell of a linebacker too.
Elaine.
Yeah. So he did a hell of a job. I don't think they did anything in particular. I think from what I saw, they just tried to play us tough. That was it. Patrick takes off, 4 get home. Okay. We know we're going to be able to run him down from backside, which they did a few times. They just try to create pressure, just try to make him as uncomfortable as possible in the pocket. I think that's a recipe for disaster for any quarterback until you Patrick Mahomes, right? Because Patrick Mahomes, when he takes off running, a whole lot of quarterbacks can't just stop there and just do a little dip, dip. Just can't do those things. And that's what makes Patrick so special because he's so creative when he gets out there in space, and they know that. Because even when they come off a guy, Patrick's going to hit the open guy. And if you're not, you stay on him, then Patrick's going to hit you with his legs. So it's like, that he puts him in very vulnerable situations. But I think because, you had a young rookie and Xavier Worthy who did somewhat okay, kind of struggled, dropped a couple of balls, still some crispness on routes that I want to see. And they understood that D-Hop wasn't going to play as much. So it relied on Kelsey. That's why Kelsey had 10 catches. That's why he had 10 catches. They're going to say, well, look, if anything, if we make sure we keep these guys out here, D-Hop comes in, gives you a little something. Travis Kelsey just became, getting rest on the side, man, and started getting open. And that was the frustrating part because when Patrick's come up and then all of a sudden the linebackers come and say, no, you want to get this first down?
Yep.
Ball.
They were really ready for his run, it looked like. They were collapsing. They were collapsing real fast. It seemed like they were like, we're not going to let him get up these little 5-yard scampers for first downs.
Yeah.
And most guys would just they're taking off and trying to run and slide or dive for it. But Mahomes looks up, waits for the guy to come to him. If you don't come to me, I'm going to run to the sidelines. I have enough speed. You do come to me, we'll dump all over your head.
Yeah.
The P. Ryan one was really nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That That was very Jarek McKinnon-y. If you just took out 34 and put number 2 or number 1 there, it looked identical to what McKinnon used to do for us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He does a great job just finding open man, but just able to get to Watson, P. Ryan, like you said, D Hop. I mean, what was he threw to like 8 receivers today, something like that? I mean,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you include targets, Jody Fortson 10. It was 9 guys caught a ball today.
wow, that's hard to do, man. Seriously, it is. It's tough to do.
And it's just so cool seeing DeAndre Hopkins' name in the box score for Kansas City. Something I didn't think I'd see, and I wanted to see for so long. Just even if it's 2 for 29, it's still cool to see that in the box score.
Hold on to it, Taze, because you're gonna see a whole lot more of that, baby.
I hope so. I hope those numbers get bigger too. But yeah.
So with that, so let's talk about the DeAndre Hopkins. JD, you talked about his presence and how the defense was kind of like, when he was on the field, he was there. He was there. And they saw him. They took notice. So 2 for 29, just looking at his stats. He wasn't on the field a whole lot today, comparatively his snaps. But here's the interesting thing. So while he only played maybe 15 to 20 snaps today, DeAndre Hopkins has surpassed 3 of his 6 games in yardage and catches with the Tennessee Titans from this year. And that was he just came 2 days ago, played 14 snaps, but he surpassed catches and yardage in 3 of the 6 games that he played in Tennessee this year when he played 30 to 40 snaps in those games. I think that tells you, hey, it was a kind of focal point, hey, these are the plays for you. We want you to get you the ball to make sure, hey, you're being fed right away. Also, too, it shows you the quarterback play. He's not playing with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph anymore. Okay, you're not at Tennessee anymore, and I think he definitely loved that aspect of it. But what did you guys make of D Hop's his first appearance in Chiefs red?
Go ahead, Tage. I'll let you start.
I was trying to look at his total snaps for the game. I know he had 10 in the first half, and I know we heard he was going to get a lot. I didn't believe that, but I still thought he had a good amount for a guy that just came off the street, recently. And he wasn't a guy that was previously with us. He didn't have experience with us. But he's got a high IQ, as what was previously reported, so they didn't really worry about him as much. And even if you didn't know what week it was and when we signed him and when we got him, when you see him out there, he doesn't look lost by any means. He looks like he knows what he's doing, where he's going. He's just a vet, and he's a guy that I said we need another guy out there, and at least we needed depth, but we needed a guy who can keep cornerbacks and DBs' eyes on someone besides Kelsey. And I'm not going to attribute Kelsey's 10-catch game, his best game of the season, to Hopkins being out there, because we've had talented dudes out there also. But as far as reputations go, as good as Rice was this year, he doesn't have the reputation Hopkins has. If you're a veteran DB, you're off of name value, you're more scared of Hopkins than you are of Rashee Rice, right? So that's not even close in my mind. So a cornerback seeing Hopkins out there, you don't want him to beat you. You have your full attention on him the whole time. And it's a great first game for him. If he just gets better from here and gets to know the playbook more and more, I think it's a great game to get him in there and get some snaps and start getting the timing down with Patrick in game too. It's invaluable just to have that connection grow.
Yeah. Most of those guys out there, man, that playing DB probably had DeAndre Hopkins on their wall growing up and wanted to be him. I'm sure a lot of them wanted to be receivers, like, oh my gosh, it's D-Hop. Shoot, now you get to play against him. So there were some guys shaking and their knees are shaking out there, okay, which wouldn't elicit a response with Rice. Rice, I mean, he's second-year guy. Let's challenge him, see what he can do, see if he's all that or not. D-Hop, already established. You know what you're going to get. And so I just seen the connection. D-Hop, what he brings to the table is he knows how to find his holes and windows, how to get open. He has great hands. He's going to be silky smooth for us, man. He really is. And so just from what you said, 3 out of the game, surpassed that. as saying like, look, he's going to be happy in this offense, man. He's going to be happy in this offense. That's just a dangerous combination between him and Kelsey out there. It's a dangerous thing to see for teams. And then once Xavier Worthy figures it out, we get Juju back. That helps out even more. Offense is open even more. Jody Fortson going down, I don't think it really hurts us as far as 14 personnel was, it is what it is. It's something that you could kind of run, but, how effective was it? So we still got the 3. Noah Gray, Johnny on the spot, coming off of Xavier Worthy, running the shallow cross, catching that football. You know what I mean? So we got guys that could come in, perform, and play the way we want to, man. But DeAndre Hopkins is without a doubt still going to have a response for DCs to respect who this man is. You just have to. I'm sorry. And you'd be a fool not to. You'd be a fool not to.
And 2 last notes on Hopkins, too. I like that we didn't force him the ball just because he's the new toy.
Mm-hmm.
I feared that a bit. I like that it just seemed natural when he was there, when he's open, when the play's there, he gets it to him. It wasn't just a forcing like Adams and Rodgers that first week. 2 was not ready to get 8 or 9 targets in that game. I think he called 3 of the 8 in that game. Wasn't ready for all that. You're just doing it because he's there and you're trying to make a point. This is why we got him. I don't like that. Play football, play your game, and when it works, right? And then my second point, I like that this move can also take a little heat and pressure off of Worthy. I like that Worthy maybe gets to go back to the natural pattern and trajectory where he was headed before we had to kind of put more on his plate as a receiver than he was maybe necessarily ready for. So I like that he gets to go back to kind of just concentrating on being what we wanted him to be to start the season.
Yeah, I agree. Because it helps him grow, right? All the pressure's off of him. Now he's like, daggone. He had a couple drops today. He had drops right in his hands. Should have brought it in.
Yeah.
So how many? 2 or was it 3? Because he had the one that
in the end zone, and then the one that he had up in the air that he kind of the Jones wrestled away from him.
Yeah. So 3.
That was a really good play by Jones. The one in the end zone, he should have had.
Brought it in. Yeah.
He should have had that. Were you gonna say, Marcus?
Well, he also had the one, I don't know if it was a drop. They got there. It was the one where it was 3rd down and Pat threw him a kind of jump ball on the sideline. And I don't know why he's throwing jump balls to him because that was the thing Nate Taylor said on that play. I didn't rewatch the game yet, obviously, but JD, there's something to check out for the All-22. Apparently on that play where Mahomes throws the jump ball to Xavier Worthy on the sideline, DeAndre Hopkins apparently makes a sick route and sick move and gets wide open in the middle of the field on that play. And Mahomes chooses to throw a jump ball to, our 5'9", 160-pound wide receiver when you got Hopkins in the middle of the field. But, nonetheless, 3rd down, panic play, just getting rid of it.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it was. But man, he went up and got it. Shoot, he had the ability. He went up and go get it. So I'm not, I'm not getting on him for that. Just bring it in.
Yeah.
So, look, Xavier Worthy's a talented guy, man. He's a muscle. You look at his body; he don't have any body fat on. That's why he's 165 pound, man. But he's a muscle. You see, you see his legs, and his size, his hips. You know what I mean? So he can play ball. He's athletic. So I didn't mind that at all. It's just him just down is pulling it on in. So I didn't. That's something I hadn't really seen out of him yet. And I was like, oh, okay, he got that in him. Cool. So, and maybe like I said, that's something. Look, they see his stuff in practice all the time. So Pat ain't just throwing something a jump ball to a guy he didn't think could jump. He's probably seen Xavier Worthy go up there a couple of times. So maybe he's thinking he's going, on the DB, right? He's, so I have no problem with him trying that.
Season high for Worthy catches.
Oh, 4? Yeah. Before catches, yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
How many targets?
8.
Ooh, 8.
Okay.
2 weeks in a row, 8.
I mean, what do you want to see from Xavier Worthy at this point? Obviously, we want to see growth, right? And obviously, you can't have the drops. But I got to say, I will give him flowers for this. Week 8, He's got 5 touchdowns in the season, 3 receiving, 2 rushing touchdowns. So already I looked, if you added MVS's career touchdowns in Kansas City, and then you add Juju's career touchdowns in Kansas City, I believe he has more touchdowns than both of them in just the 8 games, which is pretty impressive. Obviously, he's more of a weapon because you can use him at the backfield. So there's a little bit of a cheat code there. But, just to say, like, people want to, people can hone in on the drops and the negatives. Oh, man, we should have drafted so-and-so or whatever. Because I've seen some of that. A lot of people will have some buyer's remorse from us drafting Xavier Worthy. But, hey, 5 touchdowns in 8 games. Pretty damn good.
So what I want to see from Worthy, okay? All right? And Amda Brown said something that's funny. I need to do more chest flies to be able to snatch that ball. So when he's up in the air, he snatches it. He's got to make sure, man, he plucks that ball out of the air and he brings it down quick. Okay, can't leave it out here. And if you know, like you said, you're a strong guy, because they're gonna test this right here. That's where you gotta get strong on. Right here, the forearms and your fingers. As soon as you get the ball in your hands, you snatch that sucker, pluck it, and put it away immediately. Immediately. That's what I want to see from him. But I think he's in, as far as the growth is in the right direction. But this, I expect this as a rookie. If you think about the wide receivers, I'm looking around the league of wide receivers. And so there's a lot of guys that are struggling. Shoot, one of the guys we wanted to get, and I'm just like, man, shoot, I'm so glad we didn't get him. Keon Coleman, everybody kept trying to want him. I was like, we got the right guy for our offense, what we do. Okay, Keon Coleman's an athletic guy. They want, who's the other guy? Adonai, or whatever his name was, in Indianapolis. They wanted him too.
Oh, Donnie Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, Donnie Mitchell, whatever.
Xavier Leggett.
Yeah, Leggett. We got our right guy, man. We got our right guy. And so him getting 8 targets is good for us. Get it to him early. Let him learn how to do everything. We got D-Hop there so he can hear, he can see, he can watch. He can watch greatness now. Okay. Somebody said, well, he's had Travis Kelce. Yeah, but Travis Kelce plays tight end. It's a little different. It's different. It's different for a wide receiver. Because there's some things out in space that Travis does. It's going to be different for a guy that's athletic like D-Hop and Xavier Worthy is going to do. That's just the reality, man. That's just it. So I like his progress. I'm not one of those, but, his coach is going to tell him, like he knows, hey, man, you just got to catch the football, period.
So before we head out here, I want to make sure, because we're 7-0, 13-game win streak going back to last year. 7-0 start for the 3rd time in franchise history. I know someone who's a part of one of those 3 teams that started 7-0. JD, there you go, buddy. But just talking about the historical aspect of it, because I feel like sometimes we kind of get, as fan base in general, we kind of get lost in like the now. It's like, this isn't working out. Like, I want to see better of this. It's fine to talk about stuff, but also to put it into context of what we're going on right now. So Mahomes, 32-5 in the AFC West now, beating the Raiders, and Mahomes is 19-1 in the Mahomes era. The Chiefs are 19-1 at divisional road games. Look at the defense. We've held 27 straight opponents under 28 points, the longest streak since the Ravens from 2005 to 2007. So just like this team, just the significance of the impact that what's going on right now, man, I don't think people really understand what we're seeing right now. But this is great. I know we're in a dynasty, but looking at the numbers, when you dive into the AFC record, JD, you played these AFC West games. Winning on the road, especially in the AFC West, ain't no easy feat. 19-1. That is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very tough to do. Very tough to do. AFC has always been one of those that had a reputation as a very hard conference. You're going to play hard. You're going to fight some really hard competition. And it's tough. So we always know, especially in our division, the Raiders are always going to bring it. The Broncos are always going to bring it. San Diego's always going to bring it. I always say this, that regardless of how it looks, we always have one of the toughest divisions in football, just because of the reputation of the teams that we play throughout the league. But I want to say this, because I heard this last week and I was like, I almost wanted to pull my dreads out. But I guess on the show they was talking about, I guess it was Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Clark and Cam Newton, and they were discussing how good Baltimore was. And so Stephen A. of all people was like, Patrick Mahomes is scary. He's still undefeated 6-0, and he's not been playing his best football. Now we're 7-0. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is getting better. Like Teja said, he wouldn't have had an interception if that guy hadn't tipped it. He was doing fine. And I think the focus was he wasn't looking to try to give up a turnover. But I'm going to say this, okay? Because one of the arguments was saying, I think I heard Cam said, oh, man, Baltimore's a much better team. You mean that shellacking they just took today? And I'm sitting there thinking, there's no better team in the NFL than the Chiefs. Team. I'm sorry. Hey, we've seen King Henry come through running the ball. We've seen Lamar do what he does. We are still a better team than they are. Period. Bottom line. We're still undefeated team in the NFL. Everybody else is playing second fiddle to us. And I don't care who you put up against us. We are still the better team. So, yeah, Patrick might not be playing his best football right now, but he gets the job done. Our defense is playing on a high level, better than some other defenses are doing. Comprised of everybody else in the team-wise, team setting, coaches and everything, we are still the best team in the NFL, period, point blank. I don't care who else you bring up. And I was just sitting there thinking like, man, Derrick Henry has 3 or 4 good games, and all of a sudden you want to crown him? Like Dennis Green, crown it. Go ahead and crown him. You want to crown him? That's it? That's what you want to do? We'll go on crown the answer. We know who they are. Shoot, so I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I don't care who you bring up here. Detroit looks very good. They look very good. But guess what? We're still a better team than they are. We're still a better team. So until everybody shows me different, okay, until somebody knocks us off our pedestal in the AFC or the NFC, we're still the best, Marcus. We're still the best.
Yeah, when you lose to the Browns and you lose to the Raiders, I think you lost your seat at the table. You got to go to the little kids table over there. Okay, there's levels to this, and no one's sitting at the table with us right now. So you lost to the Browns, you lost to the Raiders, and you lost us. Forget the fact that you lost to us. Take that away. You lost to the Browns and you lost to the Raiders. Go there. Go see what the toddlers. Okay, not us.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, it's too bad we don't play the Ravens this year to know who's better this season. Right? I mean, it's just weird.
Right.
And what's interesting is that if you look at I wish I could. I was trying to find that tweet. If you try to find the tweet of the odds that who's gonna beat us first, one was the Bills. I believe the next highest team, one of them was the Raiders this week, actually. So it was
Really?
like once you get by them, the only legit chance we have of losing would be the Bills. So as far as Vegas is concerned, who's going to knock us off? It's tough to say. You don't want to take greatness for granted. And I know this just makes every single fan base sick. I actually go to Bleacher Report when we post these. And I read the comments. And I tell Marcus I read the comments. I'm like, I read the comments. How bad were they? It's all right. But I mean, it's mostly, if it's not trying to dog us, it's mostly about just like us drooling over the Chiefs, or it's about the refs handing us another win. Even when we win by like 3 touchdowns or like 20 points. Oh, it's easy when the refs hand you win. The refs handed us a 21-point victory, huh? Really? Tell me how that works, please. Yeah, that's great. But I think, and I tell my friends this and family members this all the time, outside of Marcus, obviously, I don't gloat enough how good we've been. You're lucky I don't call you every day to remind you how good we are. I don't say enough. You're lucky we let you talk about sports and football without us giving you permission. We're the Kings, dude, and we're 7-0 again, and we're not even playing that well.
Right.
Our offense is not even playing nearly where it should be. Our defense is amazing, but our defense has even had its injury problems. Our offense has lost a bunch of people. Even before we lost a bunch of people, it didn't look that good. So we even have excuses to give, but we don't. We don't give them. That's why I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who said, good win over the Niners, but they do have injury problems. Like, they have what? What do they have? They have injury problems? What the hell do you think we have?
Yeah.
We're not healthy. We're not a healthy team at all. And first of all, everyone's got injury problems. And we're less than halfway through the season here. Okay, everyone's got injury problems right now. If you don't, you test the whole locker room for HGH then. Okay, because everyone's got injury problems right now. But it's hard. Questions like this from Marcus helps remind me, because I get stuck in this zone of my standards are Super Bowl only, which is why you got on me for wanting a pickup in free agency or wanting to trade for somebody, because I don't want to regret 2 months from now not doing everything we could to close the deal on the three-peat, right? And just continuing our dominance, because we're so good, and I don't want to take anything for granted. But we've been football fans forever, right? Before we were a fan of a team that had this kind of dominance. So we're used to just the normal regular season trajectory, right? Like, next man up mentality. And let's see, we have a young guy who's going to the practice squad. We like him. But we got to keep reminding ourselves we're aiming for more than all that, right? We're aiming for history, being the best this season and all time. And we just continue to do it week after week against opponents. Look, all the teams that lost this week to inferior opponents in and out of division. Yeah. You can laugh at the Ravens for losing to the Browns, but that's kind of their Raiders, dude, right? Mm-hmm. Like a team that has been really good in the past, not really good right now, but you play them at their home, they can sneak out a win against you, right? They can sneak it out. It just happens that way. Any given Sunday, as they say. So I would have been extremely disappointed if we lost this week, but we would have rationalized on the show as, look, it's a division game. They're tough. Like, sometimes they just play you harder because they know you so well. They play you twice a year. So it's a reasonable thing to lose to them. It wouldn't have been crazy, but we didn't, because we're so battle tested at this point, and we're used to winning in every different way. I think the way that last year ended has just really changed our mentality. We're in just, I think, at a different level right now. And I think we're used to any kind of outcome. We're used to the odds being stacked against us in so many different ways that we've seen all the chessboards. It's like that the superhero who has played out all the different. I think it's Doctor Strange. Who played out all the different scenarios of what was going to happen already. He's like, no, this fails, and 97% of the outcomes. It's like, that's how I feel like we are at this point. We've done it all, and we know how to get out of it as best as possible and navigate it. And it's awesome to watch, and I try to take it for granted.
And I think it goes to the point when I was saying before, Andy, those guys got a formula, man. They know how to win. And sometimes what they did want to do is, where we were screaming, oh man, go get Devontae Adams, go get, Amari Cooper. And for them, they was like, hey man, listen, they got to work for what we want to work. We're the ones that's going to mold them when they come here. So when Devontae Adams goes up there to the Jets, he got a new Aaron Rodgers. He had a rapport with him. He already know, he was the number one receiver for years up in Green Bay. But when you have a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, I'm sitting there thinking, what is being told to him how we do things here in Kansas City? Okay. What is the history of this? DeAndre, you come into a championship organization, how we do things here, that you're not going to get every single ball. We might sprinkle the ball around to our players, and you're going to be fine with it. And DeAndre Hopkins said, I'm all in for that. I'm just here to win a championship. And I needed to be here to put this next notch, on my legacy. This is what I needed to do. I've gotten the money. I've gotten the prestige. I've done everything, what I can do individually. This is the thing that's been eluding me for all this time, is a Super Bowl ring. And so whatever I need to do to get this thing done, I'm here for it. And I think for them, they went out and got their guy. Not saying that they didn't kick their tires on other dudes, but I think for them, they was like, this is the guy that we wanted. And I think it's going to be the same thing as far as like we try to find a corner. They're going to try to find a guy that is, an unselfish player who comes in, who's team-oriented. It's not a showboat. He's going to come in with the confounds of what we ask him to do, playing within, the parameters that, Spags asked him to do, right? And I think that's why they're so great. When they show that chart on TV, when Spags first got here, his defense and how the points kept going down year after year after year, right? That's your culture. That's what that's been doing. That's what he's been putting in. He's been making sure those guys understand what he wants out of them. And I'm asking you to give it to me each and every time I ask you to do it. And so that's what's been going on. Okay, you don't have to be big names. Heck, I've been asked for big names inside Chris Jones, haven't I? I've been asked for big names inside Chris Jones all this time.
They haven't been big names.
Yeah. So I just we know how to win. That's the bottom line. Okay, and when you got PM15, you got Travis Kelce, you got Chris Jones, and you got enough pieces where you need to have them, you're saying we can put this thing together and go against anybody, okay? Against anybody. And I don't see nobody blowing us out, embarrassing us. That's not going to happen. We got the best coach in football right now, too. So we're here for it all. We're going to make sure we're going to challenge each and everybody that we show up in front of. So
even if we do get blown out, we're going to learn from it and get better from it anyway. So I don't even, whatever. Let us get blown out.
Yeah.
Not that I'm happy with it, but we saw worse last year. We were getting blown out and we were getting embarrassed at home and away, on Christmas, on holidays, on different days of the week. That's fine. We'll learn from it. We're like an AI. We'll adapt and get better.
Yeah. It's like Taskmaster. We're talking about like superheroes and stuff. Like Taskmaster, he knows how to do everybody's move. Like once he sees it, he's like, okay, let me download it. I got it downloaded.
Yep,
got it. Okay. Well, Lamar's just gonna kick your tail. We done Lamar. We see what he can do. We know what he's got. We know what he can't do. So we're gonna play to his strengths. Okay. And move accordingly.
Spags has the book on all these guys. He's seen it all. Spags has. Just to talk about, keep this in context, and really appreciating what we're doing. Amda brings me a good point here. Amda says, what was the how many years did we go between playoff wins? We had a 1993 playoff win, and it wasn't until 2015 when we got the next one against the Houston Texans. So, like people say, oh, you Chiefs have always had this. Like, no, not really. We haven't. So, it's just interesting that people don't know the history of it, and they think the Chiefs have always been this team. It's like, no, not really. We had a giant drought. We were a team that was snake bitten, one of the snake bitten franchises. I mean, we were. JD was a part of an amazing team in 2003. That was part of the no punt game in the playoffs. And like that team that went 9-0 that year starting out the season, that team should have been a Super Bowl team, but for whatever reason, no punt game.
I think for the years I was here, we went to 4 playoff games. 4. One, we had the first round bye, which we was thinking we was going to win the Super Bowl that year, which we should have. Indianapolis was always a buzzsaw, always killed us. I'm trying to think who else knocked us out, but it was always that, and it's so frustrating because I know what type of how much work we put in to win. I don't think people understand how hard it is for playoffs and teams to win. I mean, you're giving everything, man. I'm gonna tell you, this is long hours. This is long hours of work, fellas. This is long hours, not just at work, but also for your body, the toll that you had to take all through the season. And these guys been doing it year after year. And they've been playing the long game. So it ain't just regular playoff. This is four games into it, right? Shorter off season. And we go back to work, we win it again. And so that takes a toll on the body, man. It takes a toll. So like you said, we can't appreciate that. You're absolutely right. We take it for granted sometimes how hard these things are because we make it look so easy. We just make it like it's a natural thing. Now, man, they've been putting a lot of hard work and effort into these things. And I do believe they got the blueprint, how to be champions, how to beat teams, and how to stay together collectively through all of it. So.
And that's why this show is so unique, because we have the history of feeling it from watching it on TV, and we have the history of feeling it on the field.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And it hurts. It hurts not to come up short when you're watching it or you're involved while it unfolds. That's why I feel so good now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, you think I ain't gonna stand on the table right now? I'm like, you. Yeah. Oh, the Chiefs ain't did the hell with you. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So
I'm saying I don't even care about the refs giving us win. That's great. That just means we're winning. That's all that means.
Right.
Yeah, Teja went from having to explain to me why I wasn't going to see Dante Hall the following weekend when they got eliminated that year in the playoffs to now explaining to why we're not beating teams as badly as we should be beating them. So it's funny how life changes in 21 years.
Rags to riches, baby.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for us, guys. If you guys enjoyed us, you guys can hear from us every Monday, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube, the Chief Concerns crew. But we'll be back here on Bleacher Report next Sunday next Monday night game. We got the bake show, JD. We got a bake show coming to town against Patrick Mahomes. A nice Big 12 rematch from their old Oklahoma Texas Tech days. So that'll be an interesting game on Monday night.
The bake off.
The bake off. I actually plan on being in the house for that one. I plan on watching for the Monday game as far as for right now. So that's in our plans. But we should be out there for that whole ordeal. And I cannot wait to watch Baker take his tail back there to Tampa. Tucked in, okay? Put him on the flight, send him home.
It's gonna be a tough one for me to watch it. I was telling Teja, I don't know who I'm gonna root for on next Monday night. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm joking. But yeah, so tomorrow night, Jenny and I will be hosting our grade show on YouTube. So definitely subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, fellas. Love you guys.
Love you guys. See y'all.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.